most unknown and controversial things when it comes to becoming an exchange student is how to date throughout your exchange year.
The thing that I noticed talking to many exchange students that you're gonna feel more desirable in your host country than your home country. Since you're different and you speak another language, you have a different accent and also a different culture, I'm sure there are gonna be so many people interested and excited to get to know you and talk to you. So if the first day of school you feel overwhelmed and if people text you on Snapchat, I promise you it's okay, it happens all the time, especially if you are in a small town and you go to a school that is not very big.
Have a conversation with your host family. You don't need to tell them everything or the name of that guy or that person. Just try to have a conversation with them and be like, oh, I'm talking to that guy, I might go on a date with him or anything.
Especially if you have a good relationship with them and they're super chill and you can tell them anything. I really think they can help you and they can give you tips, so they can actually tell you if she is a bad person or a good person, or if you should stay away from him, because I'm sure they live there and they know more than you do.
And throughout my exchange year, I was dating a guy back in Europe the whole time. So I committed to 1 year long distance, and this is basically my experience with it all. So prior to my exchange year, I had dated this guy for a whole year in advance, and he did not live in my home country, Sweden. So luckily I had some practice when it came to how to do long distance, because that was simply everything that I had been used to. The difference was that the countries that we lived in were way closer than, Sweden and America, or, Europe and America in general. So we had a huge distance in comparison to what we had started out with. And I think the toughest part about it was bringing it up in advance, like before I was taken off to my exchange year. Because obviously I had planned this out before I met him, and it was something that I was gonna do no matter what. But throughout our time together, we didn't really want to bring it up because that kind of puts an end to the relationship. But that summer before I left, we had such a good time together that we kind of just, without saying it, expected to stay together throughout the year. So when we said goodbye, we were like, I'll see you soon. And even though there were a lot of unclear questions at that time and I didn't know if it was going to work or not, it was still something, and it kind of proved to both of us that we were willing to give it a try. And I do recommend having a conversation about it, but sometimes if it feels forced, just go with the flow. Take it one day at a time, because honestly, how can you prepare for something like this? You don't know what it's going to be like. You can't promise each other anything. All you can really do is to hope and say that I'm willing to try for you. So if you are in a healthy relationship and you're about to take off, or you have just started long distance, all I can say to you is it's worth giving it a try. Never quit a relationship or end a relationship because it might not work. If you are willing to fight for this person, you stay with this person. And it will be proven in the future if it didn't work or if it did. And if it does end up working out, then there's no point in, getting rid of the relationship just in case.
So if eventually everything goes well with this new guy or this new girl that you just met during your exchange year, I really hope so, I really recommend to talk about a long distance relationship since the beginning, because at first you don't want to think about it. I was trying to not think about it, but you're gonna leave and you're gonna be heartbroken, I promise you, and this is gonna make goodbyes even more difficult. So unless you guys have plans for the future and you're gonna see each other during vacation or maybe for college, it's probably not gonna work. 90% chances it's not gonna work.
So make sure to talk with that person as soon as you can about how it's gonna happen when you're gonna leave. Are you gonna stay with that person? Are you gonna try long distance? Or are you just gonna break up and it's like a 1 year thing?
And you should break up before you leave if you think that you're not able to handle a long distance relationship.
So make sure to talk about that at the beginning, because those are really important things. You won't be as hurt if you know at the beginning that you're gonna break up with him when you're leaving, then just know that like a week before you leave and be like, oh, I thought we were going to stay together and try long distance, and the other person is like, no, I don't really want to. It's the kind of thing that you have to talk at the beginning with that person. Some other things, do you want to do everything with them? Do you want to go to homecoming? Do you want to go to prom? Do you want to go to pumpkin patch or whatever? Like everything you're doing, do you want to do it with them or not? An exchange year is a 1-year thing. It's a year that you're gonna remember forever. Do you want to remember that person if you're not with them anymore? Because that could happen. Even if you want to try long distance, those kind of things can happen. You can break up with them or anything and it can end up bad. So do you want to remember homecoming with that person or prom? Or do you just want to go by yourself or someone else? I didn't went with my boyfriend for either homecoming and prom. I went with another exchange student from another school and it was pretty fun, and I'm glad I went with her because it was really cool too. So do you want to remember all the things you do with that person or not? Even if you still stay with that person after that, it's just make sure it's what you want.
When it came to the whole experience being abroad, I was actually really happy I did not date in America. I think that the standards and the political values in Texas, where I was at, versus Sweden and Europe in general are so different. And the way they treated girls were so much, to me, kind of felt backwards in comparison to what I was used to. And I think a lot of girls put up with treatment that I would not have personally. So even though guys in America tended to be more outgoing and pushy and stuff like that, I never ever regretted the fact that I was dating someone on a distance when I was there. So if that's a big question to you, like, am I gonna miss out? I never ever thought I missed out. And what me and my partner at the time did was that I still went to the dances with a date. And we had this discussion in advance and he was okay with it. But what we did is that in order for me not to miss out on the experience, going to prom and all that, I went with guy friends. And I made it very clear to them from the beginning that I have a boyfriend and I'm not gonna go with you for any other reason than just us being friends and having a fun experience together. And it worked out great. Even though I got some questions from other people were like skeptical about this whole like long distance thing, it was still a good experience. And the only really thing I have to say about that and other people's judgment is that in America people cheat way more commonly than they do from where I come from, at least in Sweden. It was very common for people to cheat on their partners, their wives, their girlfriends, whatever, and they never really took the whole relationship thing that seriously. So I heard plenty of times like, it doesn't count, he's so far away. And you just have to learn to get rid of those comments, because I mean, other people's opinions of what you are doing really has no value on how you should be spending your time and who you should be hanging out with. So even though I heard those things every once in a while, people are mostly just impressed you're willing to make it work, getting rid of the relationship just in case.
Protect yourself from rumors and bets, because for example, when you're like the center of attention and you're like the new girl and you know, people might be betting on you or like starting to spread rumors, especially in like really small schools. In my case, I was in a really small school, so like people would talk about me behind my back all the time. They would say things that aren't true. For example, if I kissed a guy, which I actually didn't, or you know, things like that. So if you go out with someone in the US, just make sure and protect yourself, because it might be a bet or like, you know, those kind of things.
I really think you should be careful with drama. So just keep your life private and don't tell everybody what you do, except for the people that you really trust and maybe your host family, because I guarantee people love talking about you, and also they are not afraid to say bad things or fake news.
And I do highly recommend that if you are in a long distance relationship right now, try your absolute best to plan out a trip for this person to come and visit you. I know it can be really expensive and it's not an easy thing to fly across the whole world to see each other, but it's so worth it. I had my boyfriend at the time coming over on Valentine's Day, and it kind of became like a halfway through mark that I really needed. I think both of us really needed it, and it just really helped us along the way, and just having that thing to look forward to made the whole year seem so much shorter.
Also, make sure to follow the rules of your organization and also follow the rules of your high school. So high schools in the USA and in Europe are really different. There's things you cannot do in America that you can do in Europe. For example, you cannot hold hands or hugs or kiss in the high school in America, or like even sit on their laps or anything. It's just their culture. They don't like that. They don't want that in their high school. So make sure to follow that, because you would be in trouble if you don't. I know it's different in Europe, like that kind of thing you can do in your high school, but it's different. So make sure you follow the rules there and show respect about what they want. Also, if you can avoid it, do it, because that can make you or put you in a lot of trouble or gives you problems. For example, if another person also has a crush on that guy and you're dating him, she will be mad at you and she will tell her friends, so they will be mad at you too.
Another tip that I have for people in long distance is to make and commit to giving time to each other, even if you're apart. For example, set up date nights, dedicate at least like 10 minutes a day, 15, 20, 30, just to call and talk and catch up. Be a part of the other person's everyday life from a distance. Send love letters. I love doing that. Writing cute little letters and sending them over like you're living in the, Victorian era. I think it's just really cute to put effort in. Just because you're not close doesn't mean you don't have to commit to each other. So anything that can work if you really want it to work, and don't ever listen to someone else's opinion of what you are doing. This is your life, and if you think this person is worth it, then please, please, please give it a try.
This is my personal advice. If you get in a relationship and at some point you realize it's not what you wanted and this person is not making you happy, it's not working, I really think you should not waste time and you guys should break up. You should not be scared, because your experience can be great with your friends and you can have fun even if you're not dating anyone. So I've talked to many people and they said, I need to have a boyfriend or I need to have a girlfriend to have the best experience ever, but it's not right. I think you can have fun with your friends.
So yeah, in my case, this is all based on my opinion. I can't talk for somebody else, but from my perspective, my first year of when I went to the US, I had a boyfriend and we lasted for a really long time. It was a really lovely experience. Then my second year in Michigan, I also had a boyfriend, so that was also a really nice experience. So if you guys have the chance to fall in love, do it. You're gonna fall in love and get your heart broken in many ways, beautiful ways, and you're gonna get to experience lots of different things. So you guys should definitely try it. I especially recommend it. I don't know, I would never say no during my exchange year, because then I'd be losing opportunities to make memories and those things. So if you guys have the opportunity to fall in love with someone while you're an exchange student, just do it.
Those were my advice and my tips for dating during your exchange year.
Thank you so much for listening to the video, and I hope it was helpful and you enjoy it. I also hope you have the best experience ever.
Bye!